Hey everybody,
Hi, everyone.
it's right this minute with us standing here. We are in the last hours of the last day of this year that some of us might be okay with saying goodbye to.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so dare we speak its name?
I think we could say 2020. Yeah, we're going to make it out of here. We're all going to make it out of here. It does sort of bring to mind, though, some appreciation for what always comes to me this time of year, and that's this notion of kind of circularity. You know, the seasons passing, and this is a time when we can really appreciate the fact that a new beginning is around the corner. It's emerging. There's movement. There's hope. There's courage. There are a lot of things working. And that notion of circularity is interesting to me too, because that used to be a perspective that was pretty common among people, especially when there was an intact body of myth and story that contained the archetypal feminine as heroine and as perspective, because circularity is considered typically a feminine perspective. The circularity of life, the circularity of the phases of the moon, the tides, the days, this notion of things rolling round and round again and identifying yourself at a place on that circle, but to know that the movement around that circle will continue, and it will continue for all of us.
Yeah, whether we're paying attention or not, it's going and it is unbroken,
Yeah.
as the song says. And that circularity, what a great way to start this, because that circularity is a part of each of us individually as well. As Gary speaks of this really quite squelched feminine over the past, I don't know, 2 to 4,000 years.
Yeah, right.
That is squelching in each of us, no matter whether we identify as male or female, or as outside, or that artificial binary. We all have this archetypical feminine and archetypical masculine within us. Great thing for that we keep pointing ourselves back to is how evident that is in the natural world. And so in the circularity of the seasons, there are these ostensibly individual beings, like I'm one, and Gary's one, and that tree over there is one. And each being has within it all of this circular activity going on. But it's not a way that we orient ourselves necessarily in Western culture. And the work that you and I have been doing keeps pointing us to the reclamation of that, as we sincerely wish to address climate breakdown. And right this minute, live with and through COVID-19 and all the other things that have come through during this year 2020.
Yeah, we've given so much weight to kind of a more linear perspective, and that fits exactly into the notion of productivity and production and being, stronger and richer and this year than last, and that linear version of life has its place, but it's really quite disconnected from the reality all around us. So anyway, this is a good time, a good season, a good holiday for me anyway, to come back to that invitation to be more open to circular thinking.
Well, and as a matter of fact, right now we are here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're all quite aware that we're in the darkest part of the year. We just passed the winter solstice, and even though Gary and I are standing in what's very close to a pure bluebird day in Montana, the hours will be short and it will be dark again soon. And when you put this darkness of the year next to the challenges of 2020 itself, it gives us pause. We've been thinking a lot about how every year from time immemorial that humans have been able to tell stories and speak with each other, and communicate and all the other things that we now do in human society. This has been a time when people have told stories, but more recently in what we've learned to refer to as civilized culture, it's been a time when we've got seasonal affective depression. That's really true. The human form responds to less availability of life. But we interpret that as negative, when in fact everything in the natural world is responding to the diminishment of light as that happens in each hemisphere. But with the dark we come closer to the uncertainty. And we come closer to having to see that and live with that. And one of the things just before that is tied to that is the uncertainty that's so evident in the darkness we associate with death. And so here we are in COVID, in the end of 2020. We've got a plane going over, so we know that's happening again. But we're in improvisation. And we actually are in the opportunity to see how much of our lives are built on improvisation.
And I think this is one of the gifts of this time of year when things do slow down. All over, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, the biological world slows down, quite literally. And when we slow down, then we have an opportunity to perhaps be more fully present to serve what Mary just mentioned, and that's improvisation, which is one of our superpowers, just as it's a superpower of a great many mammals on planet Earth. We succeed by virtue of our ability to take a realistic assessment of what's going on and act appropriately in response to that. And so that's our game right now, is to be really fully improvisational.
Well, and just to realize that you already are. We've already got such skill there. Tell again what you were saying about the elk this time of year.
Yeah, and this is improvisation in service of a really essential quality of the natural world, and that's energy efficiency. Energy efficiency. How do you get the result that you seek without spending a single more calorie than is necessary, especially if you consider elk just to the south of us right now roaming around in the deep snow of Yellowstone. They're very concerned because this is a difficult time for them. They're drawing on reserves that they built up during the summer and fall, and those reserves, as you can imagine, go down during the winter until by late spring. It's a very touch and go life for a lot of those animals. So they serve that need for efficiency by improvising how they eat. If the wind comes up and blows a ridge free of snow, they'll immediately go up to that ridge so they don't have to dig so deeply through the snowpack to get to the grass underneath. They'll lead each other in single file fashion, taking turns so that less energy is expended as opposed to all of them kind of spread out, breaking their own trails. So it's an act of community that really preserves their health and ultimately, again, preserves energy. And there's, I think, great metaphoric value in that for us too. Where are we spending our energy right now, and how does that relate to our ability to improvise?
Well, and it's metaphoric, and it's just really quite practical. There's so much we can learn from the elk or from any of our relatives in the natural world. Gary and I speak about this a lot. We're finding, even for ourselves, I'm finding for myself for sure, that I can't consider this enough, how much there is for me to rely on when I feel confused in my little human life, by looking to the natural world and seeing what survival looks like out there. So here's the deal. In the wintertime, I mean, we can come against this anytime during the year, but in the dark times, it's easier to be up next, like I said earlier, to this fact of death. We know that there are two facts in a human life. We are born, and that means we'll die. And so in between those two times, there's a lot of improvisation. So we're back to that. This year in particular has been so challenging. You could use as an experiment. Think of a year ago right now. And there we were, anticipating 2020, and most of us, much like this year, had allowed ourselves to have some somewhat high hopes. You know, it's going to be different. It's going to be new. We're going to start again. It's a whole new decade. Little did we know what we would encounter. We couldn't at the end of February and into March, and then on and on. And then in late May, when George Floyd was murdered in such a horrific way, but we were all standing still and we could all see it. And a reckoning was in front of us that has not gone away. And so here we are with all of these things that can be taken as quite dark. And they do bring the presence of death up close as a companion. They also show us that we're real capable of improvisation. If you look back between January of last year and right now and sincerely take a look, you'll see that you've brought forward old skills, you've developed new skills. We are improvising all the time, but nobody's necessarily pointing our attention to that. And it's like a tree.
Yeah. The tree just does what it does. We, I think, could benefit from some ability to cultivate a trust that we have what we need to improvise, to respond, to react to whatever comes our way. And 2020, for all its darkness, does suggest there were a lot of acts of great kindness and community and heart and courage that took place in the last year, of course, as well as sadness and tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter what comes our way in this next circle that we're beginning over the next 12 months, we can rest assured that we have the improvisational ability, and we're also part of a network of life. We're part of a kinship group with these trees, with these mountains, the grasses, with the microbes in our gut that make it possible for us to live, on and on and on and on. There is a web of life holding us at all times that will allow us the essentials of what we need, no matter what comes our way.
Yeah, and if we ever get cynical about that, or frightened, because we do get frightened, we can notice that since we were born to right now, something's worked. Something's working. We've made it to right now.
Yeah.
And there is no guarantee, of course, except that we have made it up to now, that we have each other, that we're speaking with each other, and that as many mistakes as human beings have made, we are perfectly capable of repair. That the quality and extent of that, Gary and I can't say what that is, but here we are, and we have the capability to make good choices. And so perhaps 2021, radical as this might sound, can be a year of trust, a year of building trust, something that is not altogether easy for many human beings. We can say trust, we can consider trust, but it's very, very hard, often quite challenging, to be in trust. And whether we trust it or not, this natural world that Gary was talking about, with which we have all this kinship, and even one another, even each of us, there is so much that we can count on. It's going to be here, and it's going to be doing what it's doing in support of us, whether we appreciate it or not, and whether we even trust it or not.
I think a great reset in the coming year, and many of you are already doing this, but pay special attention, give it special place in your life, and that's to go out into the natural world when you need your batteries recharged, when you need to be reminded of how you are held in this life and given that which you need to not just survive, but to thrive. Go out into the natural world, be quiet, and connect with that kinship group of which you are clearly a part. It can really restore your sense of well-being and your energy to move forward into easy times or tough times.
Yeah, we know that that's the nature of life up to now. Certainly this year has shown that to us, but it's not like that's new. Every year we come through moments of joy, moments of ease, and moments of great challenge. Every year, and here we are. And so this is the way it will be going forward. Turning our attention to our companions in the natural world, as Gary's saying, is nothing but good. The other thing that it does is reminds us how this is family. And of course we want to take care of the natural world and take care that will take care of each other no matter what we think of the others, human beings with whom we share time and place.
And as we say so often with full ecology, the qualities that make it possible for life to thrive in the natural world are the qualities that make it possible for us to thrive. Of course, we have our own unique expression of those qualities, but we are not above them. We're not outside of them. We are abundant with those qualities in our everyday lives and in our communities.
Yeah, and that makes me feel like reminding you all not to believe a thing we say, but to go check it out for yourself. All of these things can start sounding cliche, and that's for a reason. That's because they have real kernels of truth, probably, but don't believe us. You check it out for yourself and see what the natural world is telling you about who you are and what you want. You know, we're going to look deeper into all of this, especially the improvisation part, on the 5th of January at 6 o'clock Mountain Time when we do our deep dive for January. So 6 o'clock Mountain Time.
Tuesday, January 5th.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, we'll be on Zoom, and that will be that link will be available for you in the newsletter. If you're not getting the newsletter, please connect with us. You can go to our webpage, www.fullecology.com, and subscribe at the bottom of that first homepage, or you can connect with us at connect@fullecology.com, which is our email, and we'll be happy to make sure you get the information. What better way for us to consider and even observe improvisation than spending some time with each other, sharing insights and ideas here in the first of a brand new year. So January 5 at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, Tuesday. Then on the 7th, Thursday, same time, 6 o'clock, we'll have the first meditation of the year.
So, Happy New Year, I think,
Oh,
is in
my.
order, and may it be filled with beauty and great heart, all of which is available to all of us every day. So we'll help each other stay in touch with that as the year unfolds.
Yes, we so appreciate every one of you. And we really believe in you, and we believe in the year to come, too. So here we go, all together.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye for
Take care,
now,
everyone.
and thank you.